17 to mid-20s, early mid-20s. And one important thing to know here is that alcohol was involved pretty much for everyone involved. This is taking place in Wisconsin, and Nikolai Mew is the guy at he's basically in the hot seat, right? He's the guy that had the knife. And then you have a group of young adults. So Nikolai, just to kind of get an understanding of who he is, so he is Romanian, and hearing his accent, I thought maybe he just came here a year ago. Here, like I'm in America. Maybe he just arrived in America like a year ago. But he actually moved to the States when he was 17, or not 17, he moved to the States as a teenager. The exact age, I'm not quite sure, but he's been there for a while. The accent just never went away. And so he was married at the time of this incident. Another important thing to know here is that he did undergo quadruple bypass surgery. Oh, I said 2020. This actually happened July 2022. So, just about 2 years ago. Okay, so let's get a picture on what happened on this day of July 30th, 2022. So, you have a group of teenagers and just everybody going out on a nice summer day to hang out at the river, have some beers, go, tubing. Just a good all-around time down there, And then you have Nikolai Mew. So Nikolai, along with his wife, were invited to hang out at this river with their friends and some coworkers. Not a big group, just a few people looking to have some fun, over the weekend. And, everybody brought along their packs of beers and just having a nice time. And Nikolai's wife mentions, the water can get cold sometimes. I'm sure that there are some rings that have fallen off people's fingers, Maybe there's some jewelry in the water, And so Nikolai thinks to bring home. Good idea. I'm gonna bring along my snorkel and my goggles to see if I find any rings or jewelry items, just a fun little thing to do while you're hanging out. And so he brings us along and a knife. So first thing that I thought about was, why the heck did this guy have a knife in his swimming trunks? Nikolai Mew is an engineer. Nikolai is he's like a handyman, kind of always working on something. So this knife is always something that he can use to help out friends or to do whatever. And for this river, time, this river day, open up a beer, or you never know what you're gonna need it for. Pretty much, it was just always on him. And so now everybody's at this river on this nice sunny day, and Nikolai Mew with his friends is on one side, and these boys, his group, is down the river a bit. Now, what brings these two groups together, or this Nikolai with this other group? Let's get into it. So, there was this friend of Nikolai's that had said, "Hey, I can't find my phone. It must have fallen in the river. I lost my phone." And so Nikolai thinks, "Oh, cool, I got the snorkel, I got the goggles, I'm gonna find it for you." Now, the friend basically took wasn't stressed about it. He wasn't, overly concerned. It's just he had already thought, oh, maybe I can find something cool in this river. My friend's got a lost phone. Let me look around and see if I can find it. If anything, just for fun to see if I can find it, right? So he doesn't just stay right around his group, but he moves down the river closer to this group of teenage boys. Now, the thing about teenage boys, not all teenage boys, but with this group, with some alcohol, not hard alcohol, just some beers, included in this dynamic, is that typically if someone asks you, hey, have you seen this item? The normal or expected response, if you haven't, is no, sorry, I haven't. And you keep it moving. Nikolai approaches this group. Clearly you can see on the video he's looking for something. And the reason that he's being recorded is this one guy says, and I don't believe him, says that he heard Nikolai say something inappropriate about some girls. And he took on this thing of, oh, you're looking for young girls. Why are you looking under the water? He's looking for young girls. Yelling this, agitating everybody else in the group, and they are like, get out of here, you creep, type of things, And these teenage boys just keep going on and on. Like, get out of here, you're looking for young girls. It's immature, loud, hooligan kind of behavior. And, this draws the attention of some young women around, in their 20s, and they are like, get out of here, and he's trying to explain, I'm just looking for a phone, and at this point, I do feel that Nikolai could have just saw that this is not the vibe and walk away. But it's not what happened, unfortunately. It just took a much worse turn. There's this young woman who's in his personal space now. You have all these guys getting closer and closer to him. She's grabbing his arm, squeezing it, pushing it, like, aggressive with him. And he's starting to freak out because he feels unsafe, as anybody would. So, this girl, he goes to push her away. Get off of me, back up, personal space. But he's a man, he's kind of gusto. And he goes to push her away, but it comes off as if he hits her. And so now here you go, teenage boys taking this and throwing it out of proportion. You hit a girl, you just hit a girl, he just hit a girl. And so now you see a couple of guys just push him into the water. This guy falls back. Keep in mind he also had this quadruple bypass surgery, maybe a year or two prior. So this is scary for him. And he's panicking. And so while he's in the water, they don't just push him down, they start punching him. And they kind of back off a bit. But from Nikolai's point of view, now you're on the ground, not only on the ground, but you're in water, splashing everywhere, punches coming to you. Survival mode. He gets up, and what happens is that in this state of panic and fear, the heart starts to go a bit faster. You hear sounds, but you don't hear the exact words that are being said, and his vision is getting to tunnel vision. So, it's on, pretty much. And he feels he has to protect himself. There isn't an idea for, let me just try to run away or get out of the situation, which, again, looking back now, would have just been the best thing to do. But it didn't happen like this. So, he pulls out a knife, and it cuts the girl, right? The young girl who was, like, in his face while she was in her 20s. Cuts her on her side, and you see this in the video clip this look of horror on her face, like, you just did this to me, you know, she's in disbelief. And Nikolai, you can see he's not even really focused, he seems to kind of be moving towards her, and this other lady comes and looks at her too and pulls her away, and apparently she had gotten cut twice, one on her side, and it punctured her lung, I believe, and on her stomach area, which we're gonna we'll, you know, get more into the damage, but it's so scary how quick and how much damage a knife can do. Now, there we go. I don't think that the guys realized that he has a knife on him, and that someone just got cut. And then you have another guy coming towards him. He knifes him as a self-protection method. And then there's this other guy who puts both arms on his shoulders. Now he says that he was just trying to get Nikolai to stay away and have everybody else back up. But from Nikolai's point of view, this is not the case. I am being attacked in water. I had to defend myself. They are not stopping. It's only me against all of these people for no apparent reason. Nikolai just goes straight up, right in, like, in the chest, well, under the chest area, and the knife seems to be about this big, right? Typical knife size. I'm only seeing about this much of the knife left, so it's gone pretty deep, and it just kind of goes down a bit. And at this point, that guy, he's like trying to hold himself together, and he's falling down, standing up, falling down, standing up, and the guy who's filming all of this, that part we don't see, but we do see the knife go in, right? Now the guy who's filming all of this turns the camera towards himself, and he's basically getting a reaction shot. It's so strange how people react in situations like this, you know? You have all this going on here, but you're just filming your reaction. He's like, this can't be happening. This can't be happening. And then there's another kid next to him, another young man next to him, saying, what's this? You know, he's freaking out too. And then you hear, that's not blood. That's not blood. That's not blood. And he's just like, and he said Isaac. So Isaac is the guy who, unfortunately that day lost his life, sadly. This, in my opinion, could have all been avoided, okay? But sadly, he lost his life at a young age of 17 years old. But you see the blood in the water, you see just this commotion going on. Apparently there are people that were tracking the two guys that really got messed didn't know what happened wrong. And so, he's put in jail and held on bail for about $1 million, which she doesn't have, so he stays there for 2 years. And his trial is in July. But in court, I really saw a lot of the comments saying that these young adults were acting as bullies. And honestly, when I watched it, that's exactly what I saw too. It's kind of like a groupthink mindset. Like I said, if one of them were just alone, or maybe just two of them alone, alcohol involved, whatever, they maybe would have been like, hey, sorry, I haven't seen your phone, or you looking for something, with the goggles and stuff. Not, he's looking for little girls, blah blah blah, when clearly there are no little girls around. And he clearly asked about a phone, but because it's like group thing and this energy is just like nobody, it just seemed that they all had this one mind, and it just was chaotic. And even in court, I mean, they really did act like such victims. But what I did like was that I didn't watch everybody's statement, or whatever you call it, but it did seem like a couple of them were saying, I wish I wouldn't have said that, I wish I wouldn't have pushed him or touched him, taking some kind of accountability for escalating the situation and, acting out. This is the thing, you can't mess with people these days. There is no, I would say it's strange, because I would say there is no excuse for Nikolai pulling a knife, but honestly, if you're in a situation where you feel like my life may be in danger, I'm surrounded by all this water, and I have a bunch of people pushing me, some people hitting me, punching me, survival mode kicks in, so I cannot judge this. As bad as this looks and whatever, who knows how somebody would react. Obviously, the logical thing out of the situation would be walk away, leave, and if that doesn't work, then defend yourself. But he had every right to defend himself if he felt his life was in danger, okay? Which is what happened. I just think that in these days and times, it is pretty scary, because things that used to just be verbal arguments are getting very, very physical. I mean, we heard about the story of the girl, this is totally different, the girl driving up the wrong driveway, and the guy shooting at the car, and she lost her life, and they were like, I'm so sorry, this is an accident, still shot at the car anyway. I saw something a while ago, this lady